Strong, that's how Advertex described its year-end report. Revenue came in 8% higher, while normalized earnings increased by 17%. CEO Jeff White pointed to healthy enrollment growth, which is sitting above 100,000 students at both schools and tertiary divisions. He has also cited moderate fee increases and a further improvement in margins for the performance. Advertex declared a full-year dividend to 101 cents. That's 16% higher than the prior period. Increased enrolments have given Stadio a boost. The private higher education provider says student numbers grew 8% during semester 2, the notable increase in new contact learning students at Stadio Higher Education. And that supported annual revenue growth of 14%. Headline earnings per share, meanwhile, came in 28% higher. Looking ahead, Stadio expects that growth in student numbers to continue. And while it's targeting 56,000 students by 2026, the group believes it can hit the 80,000 mark within the next 5 years. Grand Parade Investments has reported a 9.2% dip in interim headline earnings per share. That as revenue at its 3 gaming ventures came under pressure and corporate costs increased. Looking ahead, GPI says its focus will be on monitoring and overseeing its investments so that profits can be maximized. It's also stated that the executive team will be looking into new opportunities. Sun International has announced a changing of the guard. Ulrich Bengtson will take up the reins as CEO designate from the 1st of July. That's as current chief Anthony Leeming will retire at the end of December. Bengtson is a Swedish national and has been CEO of international listed companies and consumer services groups across gaming, betting, broadcasting and telecoms for nearly 20 years. Premier has forecast a profit rise. The food producer expects full-year headline earnings per share to be as much as 30% higher. The firm says this is due to a focus on margin management during the period. It's also cited cost-saving initiatives and the delivery of operational efficiencies as other reasons. The market will be able to take a closer look at the firm's financials when it releases its results on the 10th of June. Astral says a cybersecurity incident that put its operations on hold earlier this month has cost the group around 20 million rand in profit during the half year. The poultry producer added that the attack came at a vulnerable time for the group as selling price deflation continues to put pressure on broiler net margins. It's also had to shoulder higher feed input costs. Against this backdrop, interim headline earnings per share are expected to plunge by up to 60%. Strong trading in the Western Cape and growth in Gauteng have boosted Southern Sun's trading volumes. For the 11 months to end February, group occupancy rose to 60.7%. That's from 58.3% previously. That was achieved while the average room rate ticked up by 5% during the period. Meanwhile, disciplined cost control generated strong cash flows, which helped reduce interest-bearing debt. The savings in finance costs from that, together with fewer shares in issue after a buyback, has led Southern Sun to believe that it will achieve full-year headline earnings per share that are at least 20% higher. Raubex expects its full-year headline earnings to be as much as 25% higher. That's as 3 of the construction group's 4 divisions reported improved earnings. The firm says its diversification strategy played a pivotal role in driving its performance throughout the year. Raubex will open its books on the 12th of May. Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Park Stadio has directed the International Trade Administration Commission, known as ITAC, to review and make recommendations on the improvement of South Africa's tariff structure for steel products. ITAC says the review should be concluded at the end of July and could lead to an increase in customs duties as a way to protect the embattled local industry. This comes as government last week stepped up at the last minute to defer the closure of ArcelorMittal SA's long steel business. The state agreed to take over salaries at the unit for at least 12 months, while solutions are considered to keep the business afloat for the long term. And retail confidence edged down slightly in the first quarter, retreating from 54% to 50%. That's according to the latest retail survey by the Bureau for Economic Research. But despite the dip, confidence levels remain above the long-term average, and sales figures from Stats SA show that consumers are still spending. Further afield, China aims to boost investor confidence at a major business summit with select CEOs set to meet President Xi Jinping. Here's more detail in this report.
China is trying to convince foreign company chiefs it's still a good place to do business. On Sunday and Monday, Beijing hosted a forum for top CEOs. In attendance were the heads of companies including Apple, Qualcomm and AstraZeneca. China is keen to woo investment as trade tensions mount. US President Donald Trump has already imposed a new 20% tariff on all Chinese goods and threatened to do more.
If we can't make a deal with China, then the tariffs will be very, very substantial.
He's accused Beijing of doing too little to stem the flow of fentanyl into the US, something China strongly denies. Trump-supporting Republican Congressman Steve Daines met Chinese Premier Li Qiang. It was the first time a US politician has visited China since Trump took office. And it comes as Beijing seeks a high-level dialogue in the hope of averting further tariffs. Daines called the meeting a chance to air US views on the business environment in the country. Speaking at the corporate forum that day, Li urged countries to open their markets to combat what he called rising instability. State broadcaster CCTV says some 86 company representatives from 21 countries attended the event, with American firms the largest national contingent. However, a Reuters source said the number of US chiefs was down from last year. Later in the week, some of those business leaders are expected to meet up with Chinese President Xi Jinping.